Okay, so who here is a tech person? Okay. You're still not hearing me. You're hearing it now. Okay. Thank you guys for your patience. That is the strangest thing. Nothing is different since the last time I came live. So why don't we just take a breath for a moment? Thank you, everybody, for being here. This is the Healthy American Morning, and I come to you live around 10 a.m. I was here 10 a.m. and the sound wasn't working, so I rebooted everything around 10:08, but Monday through Friday, 10 a.m., and this is a sponsored show. This is a show where I help you keep your head above the waves in the stormy seas of life. Thank you. I've got everybody's live stream going so I can respond to that. And what I would like you to do, and I thank all of you who have been doing this, is letting people know about the Healthy American. You see, when more and more people have access to the truth, when more and more people have another perspective that they can look at, it is easier and we can get through the oppression and the tyranny faster, because I say full steam ahead. Doesn't it feel sometimes like people are pulling you under by the ankles and you're trying to keep your head above the waves? I want you to kick harder and swim faster, and I'm going to help you do that with a PMO, a positive mental outlook. Now, positive thinking is not enough. You need to have action and tools and techniques and strategies and resources and remedies and solutions, and that's what I bring to you here. That is probably the one thing that sets me apart from the other truthers on YouTube. I do not throw you in the spin cycle and then hang you out to dry. I actually help you get up out of the waves. I throw out the life preserver. You come on deck, you start to towel off, and you're looking ahead to a brighter future. That's what I'm here for. So, before we dive into today's positive message, I do want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of the show. So give me one moment. I'm going to share my screen. And these are my friends over at BioTrust. I hope you will actually try out their what did I do here? Did I end? I don't want to end. Oh my gosh. Hang on one second. Let me share my screen. And I think I'm sharing. Let's go over here. Let's go to healthwithpeggy.com. I use these products. I love these products, and I hope you will do as well. You know, before I started the Healthy American, I ran a business for about 20 years called Living Swell with Peggy Hall. And it was all about healthy living, healthy nutrition, healthy lifestyle. And I made my own products. And my husband would say, Peggy, you are spending so much time handcrafting these products. Why don't you get someone to make these products for you? And lo and behold, BioTrust reached out to me and said, we love your message on YouTube. We want to sponsor your message. And here we have BioTrust. I do not have to make it anymore. BioTrust does it for me. I'm very, I have very high standards when it comes to products and things. So I want you to learn all about healthwithpeggy.com. Let's dive in. And the message I want to share with you from our friends is collagen is taking the world over by storm, and for good reason. It's the one supplement that's becoming widely known for its fountain of youth-like benefits. A consistent collagen routine has been shown to help reduce wrinkles and rejuvenate skin, but there is a problem. Some of these collagen supplements found on store shelves could be packed with low quality ingredients doing more harm than good. And this is why I love multi-collagen. So that's what it is called. Users report a more youthful appearance, decreased wrinkles, thicker hair, healthier nails, and pain-free joints within days of taking this magical product. And this is why I highly recommend healthwithpeggy.com. You can try it today for 51% off. You can see that here by going to healthwithpeggy.com. You can see it healthwithpeggy.com or by visiting the link below. So a big thanks to the sponsor of the the Healthy American Morning. I come to you every day, Monday through Friday, around 10 a.m. Pacific time. We did have a little technical glitch, but I'm glad that did not prevent us from being here. And what I want to talk to you about today is finding common ground. I have been so busy, as I know you have been, not only over the last year and a half, but this last week in particular was just slammed in a good way, meaning I had so many opportunities to share my message of overcoming tyranny, of overcoming oppression. And I speak out frequently on the law that protects your rights and how you can apply the law so that you can fight off this oppression and tyranny and reclaim your freedom. Now, I never gave up my freedom. I live in freedom because I will not comply. On this show, we sort of leave the politics and the current events and all of that behind. And I want to hear about you and your lives. And I want to tell you about my life so you'll get to know me a little better. I'll get to know you a little better. And that is one of the key aspects of the Healthy American is connection. The evildoers wanted to separate us and isolate us. And I want to tell you a story about that. And then I want to tell you a story about finding common ground. And that's the mental outlook I'm going to choose today is where can I find some common ground? It's not easy. It's not easy when you believe you are on, or you know you are on opposite ends of the spectrum with certain individuals. And then there's friction and there may even be breaks in the relationship. Last week, I showed you how to get the program that my husband, Pastor David, and I taught called Healing Broken Relationships. This is a close to 3-hour program that you can watch in like 3 40-minute segments. And it is for free for you over at peggyhall.tv. Peggyhall.tv is my private, exclusive, ad-free, censorship-free platform where you get my long-form interviews, where you get me speaking about things that I cannot talk about on the public platform. So I talk about it on my private platform, but I want to give you a sneak peek of peggyhall.tv. So I am giving you how to heal your broken relationships for free. You do not even have to subscribe over there. So, but the broken relationships are one of the tools of the enemy. Let me know in a comment how many of you, am I still sharing my screen or am I back on? I'm back on, aren't I? I want you to tell me in a comment, please, if you have had a broken relationship. And I want to tell you a story about this, just this last weekend, what happened to me and how much encouragement I got from finding common ground. So my outlook, my thinking that I'm going to choose to think is, how can I find common ground? Where is our common ground? I want to think less about division and isolation because that is a tool of the enemy. Now, for me, I see this clearly as a spiritual battle. I see that evil wants to overtake good, which is why things are being topsy-turvy. We're being told that to suffocate yourself is healthy for you. And we're being told to do certain medical interventions that haven't even been proven to, well, I'm not talking about that on this show. But what I do want to say is that our society is telling us that down is up and left is right and bad is good and all of that. And those with eyes to see, those with the spiritual discernment to understand that this is evil trying to overtake your soul. Evil is trying to usurp the authority of God, of your creator. So to me, that's very clear. And for others, it's a matter of survival. Like, I just have to hang on to my job. I'm trying to be able to see my kid. Some people are telling me they're trying to be able to see their kids or their grandkids. Others are telling me they're just trying to get medical care, or they're trying to travel. So we all are fighting battles at different levels. Mine is different than yours. I would like to hear about yours. And let's see, we've got the old ones, old friendships are falling away, new are coming in. And Darina said she's having a difficult time developing new relationships. Be still and know, says a good friend just stopped talking to me. I want to tell you a tale of two friends. And these are I call them lifetime friends, lifelong friends, because they are friends that I've had at a very young age. I grew up as a competitive swimmer. And from the age of about 8 years old, I was in the pool, swimming laps every day, doing the workouts, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the physical challenge. I loved the exercise. I loved feeling clean and refreshed. But most of all, I loved my friends. And these were friends that I didn't even go to school with, because it was a city club. So it drew the swimmers from all different schools. And my best friends turned out to be those, we all went to different schools, but we had this common love of swimming and competition. And from the age of about 8 years old, these were my two bestest friends in the entire world. And we still have been in touch all of these years later, even though we live in different areas and our lives have taken off on different directions. I knew that I could always trust these friends at a moment's notice. They were there at my mom's funeral, when my dad passed away, when my sister passed away, when I was having difficulty living overseas and coming back to the United States. At every phase of life, these lifelong friends were there, even though we lived in completely different geographic areas. And it's not like we could just stop and have a cup of coffee together. They were always there, tried and true. And regardless of the stormy seas of life, I knew that I could depend on them. And there is a special kind of bond, I believe I have, with those that I've known through all of the stages and seasons of life. Now, I have new friends that I've met in the last year and a half that are unbelievable, deep bonds, because we've been through a traumatic experience together. And there is something psychologically called trauma bonding, where you are experiencing something like people that have been through war together, people that have been through losses together, people that have had natural disasters that they've gone through. There is a deeper kind of bond that establishes a soul-to-soul knowing and experience that other people don't have. So I understand. Oh, I'm getting chills just thinking about it, because I love you, Healthy Americans, that have been with me. Some of you are new Healthy Americans, just finding the show. Others, I can see the names, have been with me from the very beginning. And I absolutely love these new friends. And do you remember that saying? It's actually like a little bit of a song. Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other gold. So it means that the old friends and the new friends are treasures to be cherished. But now let me tell you the story. So I have all of my new friends, thousands and thousands of new Healthy Americans. And if you are looking to make new friends, please connect with someone here on the show, reach out, swap info, make a plan to actually meet in person. I think the in-person meetings are so important, and find the common ground. You may be someone with 4 kids. You may be someone without kids. You may be an animal lover. You may never have had a pet in your life. You may be a strong Christian. You may be seeking. Find the common ground, my friends. It does not have to be all or nothing. And that is one of the tips that I can give you. So thank you, Jennifer. Great to have you on board. Oh my gosh. Betty, Paula, Ray, love having you here. And I always am encouraging people to connect, because the evil wants to separate us. That's why they told us, stay home, don't go to work. And that was harmful on many levels. It was harmful not only because you weren't earning money, but many people that I spoke to said, Peggy, it wasn't even the money. I felt as though my meaning and purpose in life was being siphoned away. Like they had poked holes in the ship, and I was taking on water, and I didn't feel as useful. I didn't feel as appreciated. I didn't feel as productive or engaged, like I was contributing to society, like I was sharing my gifts. I felt the same way. I'm a teacher, and I had 2 jobs. I taught 3 or 4 classes every single day. I reached easily over 150 people every single day I would see. And I would interact with them, and we would share, how was your weekend? Where are you going on vacation? How are the grandkids? Do you have a new recipe? What's going on? It was an engagement in life. And when they pulled the plug, they were government jobs. And when the government pulled the plug on these jobs and they told me to go home, I would have kept going. Like my husband said, he kept going to work, even though they told everybody to shut down. He's like, I'm going to keep going. But people like me that had no place to go because the government itself, these were government schools and government. I worked for the city government and I worked for the South Orange County Community College District, which is a type of government. It's a governing body. And both of those jobs were gone. And yes, I was depressed and I hit rock bottom. On an upcoming show, I'm going to tell you about the depths of despair that I reached and how I got out of it. But what I want to tell you today is that the isolation is a very powerful tool. My heart grieves for the elderly and the infirm and the vulnerable that were isolated in the nursing homes. People reached out to me and I told them, call the sheriff and report elder abuse. These are your loved ones. Many people I counseled to take their parents home or their loved one home, regardless of the cost. You find someone to do the care, or you do the care, or you move in with family members, or you hire one of the individuals who did not want to work at the nursing home for various reasons. And there was a woman that left a nursing home and she's like, I am going to be homeless, but I don't care. I will couch surf, but I am not going to work under these circumstances. And one of the residents of the nursing home, the daughter was working full time. She was the only one that could take care of the elderly mom. And she thought, I will give room and board to this nursing home, not the resident, but I will give room and board to this nursing home caregiver. She can live in my house while I go to work. I'll bring my mom home. Now my mom has 24-hour care, one-on-one, and this person has a place to live. So there's always another way, friends. That's one of my PMOs. There's always another way, and I'm going to find it. So today I want to talk about finding common ground. When we are isolated and separated, then we become polarized. And you're like, I think this way and you think this way, so we can never talk again. Well, that's really sad. So I want to tell you the tale of my two friends. I was home, not working. I was feeling angry. I was feeling frustrated. I reached a very low point, which ended up giving birth to the Healthy American. I'll share that a little bit later in another show. But I want to tell you a story of redemption. And I also want to tell you a story of hope. So that's really what the show is about today. I would say hope and redemption. My two lifelong friends, we're all the same age. We have the same long history of friendships. We've had the ups and downs in life. I've lived overseas for many years. I came back. We picked up where we left off. There have been a few years where all we did was exchange Christmas cards and birthday cards, maybe a phone call here or there. But then we pick right up where we left off. We're doing camping trips together, dinners, Christmases, all of that. So it's kind of like the waves of life. Sometimes we're very connected and integrated, and other times there's a little bit more space. I'll just put it that way because we're busy with our own lives. But it's a deep, abiding affection, and I thought, and I still believe, like you can rely on the people, a deep reliance and trust. So during the early days, I was writing a lot of cards to people because I was at home. I was at home eating popcorn, watching these YouTube videos and feeling horrible because they spun me into a spin cycle telling me the world was going to end. And I felt horrible. I couldn't sleep at night and it was just really bad. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm a positive person. I want to find some solutions here. And that's kind of the beginning of the Healthy American. What I want to tell you is this. I wrote cards to these dear friends of mine and other extended family members, cousins and aunts and so forth. And I said, I just want to check in, see how everything is going. I want to let you know you're in my prayers. And I also said this very carefully. No illness, no sickness, no scam can ever come between us. And I wrote those words because I wanted to let them know, because they probably knew that I had a strong opinion about the way I was thinking and feeling. I'm just that kind of person that always has a very strong opinion. And I wanted to have in writing, I wanted to give them my assurance that they would always be my friend, that it didn't matter to me what they thought about this, that we had a bond that was stronger than any illness, than any behavior, than any political views. And I know that some of my friends, maybe not these particular ones that I'm talking about, I know that I have friends that are on the opposite end of the conservatism and liberalism. I know that because we've had talks about, climate change, and we've had talks about saving the earth, and we've had talks about all of this. And I know that we have different views. I welcome different views because that's how we grow. I don't care for labels. I don't even care labeling somebody a conservative, a liberal. I don't even like that. It's so limiting. And we're beyond that. We're multifaceted. So the two friends, love them dearly, still love them. One friend unfriended me from Facebook. Not that Facebook, I don't live and die by Facebook, but it's a gesture of shutting a person out. There's one thing to just like, I'm not going to read the post. I'm going to snooze. Remember, you can snooze somebody on Facebook. But it was, to me, unfriending somebody on Facebook, to me, is a gesture of slamming the door in their face. Maybe that's just me, but that's how I took it. And interestingly, this dear friend, her daughters still are on Facebook because I can see their posts. And her son occasionally will even give a comment on one of my posts. And I am not out trying to change anybody's view. I am out presenting the facts and the information, and I want them to know about their rights so that they will not live in oppression. But the one friend basically slammed the door in my face in terms of shutting me out from Facebook. And then I sent an additional card, never heard back. She did text me a picture of a birthday cake on my birthday, just a picture of a birthday cake. And I said, oh, that looks delicious. Thanks so much. And never heard from her again. I sent her birthday wishes. I sent her a note following the anniversary of her mom's passing. Never heard from her again. And I still hold out hope for the day that we are going to be sharing a hug. And, she's probably masked up and got the needle and all. That's fine. Those are her choices. Her view is that I am unwilling to make sacrifices for others, that I am selfish. So apparently she's never seen the close to 1,000 videos that I've made for free. I guess that would be selfish. Oh gosh, I'm getting a little snippy, aren't I? And the thousands of hours of research that I've done, and the pages and pages and pages of documents available at thehealthyamerican.org under the tab that says free documents and help. And I do live appearances at least, oh my gosh, 2 times a week, if not more, where I'm driving places. I don't get paid. I'm not asking for money. I drive to these places, sometimes for hours, to speak for hours, because I want to share the information that I've accumulated about your rights and your freedom. And it's not even about your freedom, it's about your soul. And this dear friend of mine that I still pray for is a deep person of faith. And she doesn't even know that the devil is knocking at the door. She slammed the door on good. She slammed the door on God. She slammed the door on truth. She slammed the door on freedom, and she's opening the door to the deception of the evil one. So I am praying for her. I actually feel a great deal of compassion for her. So, and the other irony is that leading up to the Healthy American, when I did Living Swell with Peggy Hall, and I did daily videos then all about your PMO, she would watch them daily. My friend and her husband were 2 of my most active supporters, encouraging me, telling me that they were so happy that I was sharing this information. But that, my friends, is the result of living in fear. That is living under the deception of the evil one. And when I speak of the evil one, you can fill in the blank. I mean, to me, it's very clear that it is a destructive force that wants to remove our connection to God. It wants to replace our spiritual knowledge of God and our creator. Maybe you don't have that knowledge. Maybe you're seeking it, or you're again, I don't mean to make this a spiritual show, other than we are spiritual beings. And what's happening right now is usurping God's authority, so that you will rely on man and you will rely on science, and on man-made science intended to improve on God's creation. I'm not participating. But the point of the show today is about finding common ground. So I reached out to my friend, sending a letter saying, we have all of this history. We have all of our shared, affection and experiences. And I do not want this event in life to come between us. And it will not come between us from my view. So I don't regret anything. I'm not frustrated with her. I'm not angry with her. If anything, I'm showering her with more love and light. And I pray for her. And I look forward to the day when we are going to share hugs and maybe even laugh about this time, and then just set aside those differences. Now, I want to tell you, before I tell you the tale of my other friends, I was going to tell you the tale of two friends. I want to interject, as I like to do. I'm going to interrupt my own self here. I know you guys can follow my threads. I love you for that. And before I do that, I want to take a quick look at the comments here. And so those of you that need my help regarding your specific situations, would you tune in today at 3 o'clock? 3 o'clock Pacific time, I'm doing Peggy to the Rescue. We are going to talk about your religious exemptions. Today, we're not talking about that. We're talking about positivity. We're talking about keeping your head above the waves. And we're talking about finding common ground. Let's leave all of those comments about politics and everything for this afternoon. I want to keep this environment uplifted, positive, and let's not give attention and energy and focus to the evildoers. This is like our purity time together. This is our uplifting, positive time. So friends, let's do that. Let's encourage each other in a positive manner and leave those comments about political current events for this afternoon, 3 o'clock. I will be back, Peggy to the rescue. I'm going to finish up in about 5 to 6 minutes here, friends. And I want to tell you the story of my sister, who also has a lifelong friend, a dear, dear friend who lives in another state. And so again, they don't see each other frequently, but they do send packages and they have phone calls and, texts, and they send gifts and all of that. So they're very, very connected. They're on the opposite end of the spectrum. This dear friend was one of the earliest people that ever taught me about organic food, organic living. She was all about a healthy lifestyle way, way, way back, like, in the 70s and 80s, before it was really that popular, well, at least in my mind. And she would not even eat a stick of celery unless it was organic. And she taught us so much about healthy living. We even had a little funny expression that we would say, Terry would know, Terry would know. Ask Terry, Terry would know. And we were going to make a little t-shirt that said, ask Terry, because she always knew everything about healthy living. Well, she came under the influence of fear. And during all of this hogwash, she went along with it lock, stock, and barrel. Not only did she go along with it, she was out there marching in the BLM and the Antifa, and she was supporting all of it. And she just thought it was the best thing ever, that, the underdog had to be celebrated, and she would have all of her fancy scams to go along with her clothes. So this is how I understand it. Now, she does live in an area that's quite shut down, but she didn't even, to my knowledge, try to overcome it. She didn't even try to resist, at least try. And I admire so many of you that are out there fighting, that are taking it to the line, as I call it, or you're marching it all the way to heaven with me. But she didn't. She did a complete 180, going from organic, can't even eat celery. She would bring, air purifiers into her room everywhere she went when she traveled. Everything had to be organic and cotton and sustainable made and all that. And she did the 180. And yes, my friends, she did it. She did it. She did it. She did it. She did it proudly. My sister is along the lines of me. My sister has paid so many sacrifices in terms of standing up for her rights, for being harassed, intimidated, threatened by men, just in like the grocery store. She had women, older women, coming in coughing on her, saying, I hope you die. because they're so tolerant and caring because they care about others. So my sister has put up with everything. She's made extreme sacrifices. She did not want to lose this friendship. So over time, she would make a list of things they could talk about, and that's finding the common ground. She would make a list of things they could talk about. And on the phone calls and on the text and all of that, that's where she would steer the conversation. She could not talk about the current events. She could not talk about the science and the medicine. She could not talk about politics. And that's fine. There are so many other things to talk about. How about your cat? How's your kitty cat doing? What's the weather like? Have you made any good meals lately? Have you read any good books? Have you seen any movies? And when her friend would want to steer her into the, are you getting it? My sister would say, I'm fully immunized. I am fully immunized just the way God made me. Or I'm really looking into that quite deeply. That's another answer you could give. Or, I'm still considering that carefully. Because friends, at a certain point, and the Bible even tells us, don't cast your pearls before swine. Why are you throwing out the life preserver to somebody who jumped ship? You're following me, right? Well, I will throw out the life preserver to somebody who fell overboard, not realizing what happened. And they're waving to me saying, help me, I'm drowning, send me a life preserver. I am sending the life preserver to those who want my help. I am not sending out my life preserver to those who jumped ship. And I asked them, hey, do you need a life preserver? I've got something to help you. They're, no, I'm fine. They're fine. I'm not going to send them the life preserver. There are so many people that need my help. Why would I spend time chasing down those who already said they don't want my help? So friends, that's one thing you can do. So the theme of today is find the common ground. I'm going to finish up telling you about my second friend, the tale of two friends. And before I do that, I want to let you know about my sister. So she made the list of things that they could talk about. And she trained herself to focus on the friendship and the values, maybe even the previous values that were the foundation of this friendship. She did not want this friendship to end just because of different views of different actions and behaviors. I have to be squeaky clean on this public platform, but I don't mind because I want to get my message out and I want to reach other people. Would you tell more people to come to the Healthy American? That's why I am on YouTube. It's a search engine in and of itself. I want people to find my message. And I want to get this message out to those that are saying, help, I fell overboard and I need a life preserver. So we don't want to shut out those that are still seeking and still searching. So my sister actually just finished a vacation, a 10-day driving vacation with her friend who is on the opposite end of the perspective regarding the science and the medicine and the current events. And they were able to take a driving trip. They went all through the state parks of Utah. And my sister, yes, she brought the religious exemption and her badge, and she was able to drive through Zion in their own car, because right now, apparently, they only allow you to go on guided tours and you have to wear the scam or you have to have the needle. And she's like, I don't do that. And she did it. She was able to use her religious exemption that Pastor David and I provided for her. All of that's over at thehealthyamerican.org. They had a wonderful, she said, best vacation ever. They found the common ground. They didn't talk about current events and the science and the medicine and the politics. They talked about God's beauty. They talked about the delicious food. They probably talked about childhood memories. They found the common ground. Is it easy? No. Is it doable? Yes. Is it worth it? Of course. So you need to think about things that you can talk about with these loved ones and just have boundaries. Just don't go there. And you can, if they want to bring it up, you can just say, you can redirect the conversation and you can say, I'd rather talk about that later, and just be polite and friendly and say, that's not something I really want to talk about right now. I would rather talk about XYZ. Now, let me finish off by telling you the tale of my other friend. So I had my two friends grew up at the same time, best friends ever, still in contact all these, decades later. And the one friend just, she sees me as selfish, and I'm hurting people. I'm harming people with my words. I'm killing people by telling them to. Now, I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I'm sharing information for you to choose what you want to do. I'm a teacher. And I simplify information. I do the digging because not everybody wants to. Not everybody can figure it out. It's easy for me to do that. So I figure it out and I share it. I've never told anybody to do anything other than learn about your rights, learn about the laws that protect your rights, honor God. I've said that many times, and that's what I've said. That is exactly what I've said. So I'm all about knowledge and discernment and information. But her view, remember, this show is all about your view. She could take the view of, oh my gosh, she's helping opening people's minds so they can make a choice for themselves. Anyway, my other dear friend lives in another state, came out to California, said, I'm here. I want to visit you. Can't wait to see you. I said, come on, can't wait. And I don't even think she's on social media, but her sweet daughter reached out to me because her daughter was discriminated against after she was offered a job position. And then when they said, you have to exchange the jab for the job. And she's like, no, I'm not going to get a jab for the job. And they withdrew the job. But here's what's beautiful. It turned out to be a great happy ending. She actually had a solution that I hadn't even thought of. And I want to offer this to all of you, even though I said I wasn't going to talk about politics and current events, but it's a part of the story. So her daughter was hired as a contractor instead of an employee. So the employer, because the daughter did not want to get the jab. So the employer felt, the employer needed to be educated more because they were living in fear, thinking that they would be shut down if they had employees that didn't get the jab. But the fact of the matter is, everyone is protected by a religious exemption and a medical exemption. So the employer said, well, we won't hire you as an employee, but we will hire you as a contractor. And then we don't have to be as responsible for your health. I thought that was really interesting. I need to dig a little deeper on all of the ins and outs of that, but I thought it was a good way to go about it. So I know that the daughter did not want to get the jab because she reached out to me. So I just assumed that the mom was the same way. My friend was the same way. So she comes and we're hugging and exchanging, how are things going and all of that. And my dear, lovely friend flew to California. So of course she put on the scam. I don't really care. That's her choice. She may even see that as a sacrifice, that she had to make that sacrifice to come out to California for a funeral, by the way, of the husband of a dear friend. So she did that to come to California. Now, that's her view. I'm not going to denigrate that. I am not going to judge her. I am not going to ridicule her. That is not my position. I only care about me putting on the scam, and I'm not going to do it. So I have nothing to say to her other than my heart goes out to you for the loss of your friend's husband. I'm so glad that you were able to come here. Why in the world would I have any other conversation than that? That wasn't even the point of her visit. She also came to see me knowing the work I do, knowing how strongly I teach about this, and she was undeterred. She wasn't afraid that I was going to, wag my finger at her or tell her she wasn't welcome into my house. No, not at all. Further, she told me that she got the jab. She got the jab because she works with children and she just didn't want to hassle it. She did not want the parents of the children to have any reason why she would not be able to continue in her job. So she exchanged the job for the jab and she was fine with it. I'm not going to wag my finger at her. I'm not going to tell her to stay away. I'm not going to tell her she's not welcome in my house. I'm not going to give her a lecture or a sermon. It's her decision. My understanding is that her husband also did the jab for the job because he works in a medical setting and he didn't want to go through all of the hassle. And so that was his decision. That is really the bottom line in all of this work. That's why it's called the freedom movement. It's your free choice. My friend has beautiful long blonde hair. That's her choice not to cut her hair. Imagine if the government said everybody has to have short hair like Peggy. Would you do that? Maybe some of you would. But I believe that the strongest advocacy we can focus on is freedom. God gave us free will. I did not lecture her. I didn't say, what are you crazy? No. Why in the world would I do that? It's already a done deal. In fact, what I told her is, because I asked her, I said, what did it feel like? Did you have any side effects? How did it? I was curious because I actually don't know anybody who did that. And this is our deep friendship. All these years, I can ask her these questions. She wasn't afraid of coming to see me, even knowing the work that I do. She could have not even mentioned it. She could have lied. She could have said, I didn't do it. She could have said, oh, I don't want to talk about it. She lives in her confidence in Christ that it's like, you know what? I felt that this was the best thing for me to do. And at the same time, she said, I do not want my children getting this. She said, I'm concerned about certain side effects, and she does not want her young adult children to have those side effects. So she and her kids are very strong about them not doing it. It's a very fascinating situation. I welcome these perspectives. I want to know her thinking. What was it that compelled you to do that? And she said, I just didn't want to be hassled. And I want to be with the kids. And she did say I would feel horrible if I did make them sick. That was part of what she was thinking. So you find the common ground. And I asked her about it, and she said, I didn't have any side effects at all. And I said, I wonder if you got I don't even know if I can say this on the show. I wonder if you got a different version. I'll just put it that way. Because again, I don't talk about the science or the medicine, but there might be different versions of what people are getting. You know what I mean? Because they are still testing it. So there might be different versions, and she may have gotten a different kind of version. I better talk about this on my private platform. I'm getting in a hot water here, you guys. And she didn't even know about that. So I thought that was interesting. She said her husband did have a really sore arm and he stayed in bed. But my friend also told me that she had a different kind of shot a long time, like some time ago, the DDP, and she had a side effect reaction to that. Anyway, she's fine right now. I'm glad that she is. We had a beautiful day. We talked about old times. We talked about her kids and the new marriage and the sad passing of her friend's husband. And we shared a meal. We encouraged each other. We prayed for each other. It was beautiful. We found the common ground. I asked her to pray for me and our other friend. She didn't even know that the other friend had closed the door, so to speak. So maybe I'm taking it as shutting out. Maybe she hasn't even shut me out. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe she's still praying for me. I hold out hope and redemption. I know that I will be sharing healthy hugs and maybe even unhealthy hugs. There's no crime against being sick. I look forward to sharing these hugs with my friends. There is a bond that is stronger than any illness, than any behavior. Think about in the Bible, the prodigal son that spent all of the dad's inheritance and lived the high life and then literally slept with pigs because he was homeless. I think I have the story correct, and made his way back. And the father not only welcomed him with open arms, he threw him a party to say, welcome home. I'm going to do that. I'm going to throw a party for my friends. In fact, I think I'm going to plan on that for my next birthday. I want all of those friends that may have said, Peggy, what are you doing? I had people that sent me like anonymous postcards. They knew my home address, and it was not very nice. So anyway, I pray for all of these people. And then there are other friends and family members that know what I'm doing. And they just kind of let it ride. They're just not going to participate, but they're not cutting me out. They're not shutting me out. So we do need to have healthy boundaries. Please watch. I'm going to sign off now, friends. Please watch the free gift I have for you. If somebody could put that in a comment below, it's www.peggyhall.tv. You go there and you can watch the 3-part series called How to Heal Broken Relationships. I want you to have that as my gift. And we talk about releasing intense emotions. We talk about boundaries. Pastor David talks about healing these broken hearts. And I want to help you with that. All right, friends, let me know in a comment about the common ground that you're going to be finding. Do you have friendships, maybe even with family members where you're on opposite ends of the spectrum? The mental outlook that I'm using is, let's find the common ground. Where is the common ground here? What is the common ground we have here? And when you get your thinking mind active, it will calm down the emotional self that can run away. So we need to consciously choose the thoughts that we are focusing on, because those thoughts have an impact on how we feel. And then how we feel affects our actions, which can affect our circumstances. Remember, your actions are more important than the results. Your actions matter. You don't have control over the results. I don't have control over whether that friend is going to open up the door to me again. I don't, but I have control over still loving her, praying for her, having that vision of a future engagement where we'll be together and maybe laugh about some of the silly things that have happened. I sincerely believe in smoother sailing and brighter days ahead. I would not be able to do this work sincerely if I didn't believe it. I will not allow myself to spiral down into the depths of despair. If you are watching shows that leave you up at night, that get your heart pounding, that give you an adrenaline fix of fear that you're addicted to, I encourage you to balance that out with watching more of the Healthy American, because I bring solutions. And I've got thousands and thousands of success stories based on these solutions. You can read on the website people that have been helped by, you can read in the comments here, people that have been helped by us. And for those of you that are struggling, reach out to us. For those of you that are saying, well, I did my religious exemption, it didn't work. Well, you didn't follow the steps we gave you, because our steps are successful and there's always an appeal. And if you have not reached out to us for help, then you have not done everything that you can do. We've helped people with appeals. We've helped people in the military, in the government, in FEMA, in the Department of Homeland Security, in the Department of Defense, air marshals, the Coast Guard, the Army. We have people from the CDC reaching out to us. We have people from FEMA reaching out to us, from the Department of Health reaching out to us, from schools, from hospitals. Every walk of life we have helped. So please do not spiral into despair. I would rather see a comment from you saying, I'm going to get Peggy's help for an appeal, instead of saying, no, let's focus on the positive, my friends. It makes a difference. I'm going to sign off here. I'm going to take a look at some of these comments. Thank you, everybody. Great to see you all. And thanks, everybody. Oh, hey, Kelly, great to see you. I got to tell you, Kelly, there is a street, 2 streets before ours, called Autumn Rose. And every time I drive by it, I think of you, my lovely friend. So big hugs to you and your husband. I need to interview him. Make sure you guys reach out to me. I want to do an interview with Tim. Tim is going to be a very interesting interview because he works for the pharmaceutical companies, or he did. And I'm interviewing more and more people who are bringing us the behind the scenes. And Chris says, guard your heart above all things, for out of it flows the issues of life. Chris, that was the Bible verse I spoke about when I was at a conference on Saturday. That was the focus of my talk, was that Bible verse, because that's exactly what we need to do. We need to guard our heart, which to me means our thinking, our emotions, and our very soul. So if we spiral to the negative, it feeds negativity. And we need to consciously think. So go back and watch the shows of last week, my friends. I've got the PMO, the positive mental outlook, with short phrases that you can focus on. And this is not a mantra. This is not an affirmation. It's not that at all. It is a conscious thought that you are choosing to think, and it needs to be sincere for you. And if you're not there yet, if you're like, well, Peggy, I can't find the common ground, that you make it all sound so easy. What you can do is say this: I look forward to finding the common ground. One of these days, I'll be able to find the common ground. Can you do that? That's a little bit easier, isn't it, than just saying, we've got common ground. You can say, one of these days, I'm going to find the common ground. One of these days, I'm going to find the common ground with my oldest friend. I know I will. I look forward to finding the common ground. I'm going to sign off here, friends. Thank you so much. I will be looking at the comments after the live stream ends. This will live on YouTube, so you can go back and make comments as well in the regular comments under the video. Thank you everyone for subscribing here. Please subscribe at Living Swell Peggy Hall, because if this channel ever gives me that weird technology glitch again, I will be streaming live over there. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I do lives on Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to be doing that around the lunch hour. And then at 3 o'clock, I'm back. Peggy to the rescue. You guys asked for the show to be live. I'm going to bring it to you live. And that way you can ask me some questions. We're going to talk all about appeals. How do you get an appeal if your employer is rejecting your exemption and they cannot do that legally? I'm going to help you with that. Signing off, everybody. God bless you. Love having you here. I'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. It might be 10:05, but look for me around 10 a.m. Pacific time for the Healthy American Morning. And this is the show where I bring you all of my positivity and possibility so that you can